What's going on, good people? This is Sim here from the Fusing Shop, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to make this cool two-piece Sherlock. This also has an encalmo on the end here. So let's jump in and get it going. Hello everyone. So here we are at the torch, and right now I'm just heating up my heavy wall cobalt blue tubing. Heating up that end very gently. I sped this part of the video up because in this part I'm just making a blank, and there's nothing too technical about making a blank. So here I'm just again gently heating up that end, getting it nice and hot. Gonna tweeze off a little bit of glass at the end to make it easier to pop open. Excuse me. Just continue to heat and rotate, and I decided to blow it out in the fire rather than popping it with the rod. Whatever way you prefer to do this again is your art, and however you prefer to do it, as long as you're working in a safe manner and not doing anything that's dangerous that could hurt yourself or other people. So always be thoughtful about others as well as yourself. Okay, so right now I'm just evening out that lip. I had a little bit of extra glass on one side that I wanted to pick off before I go and attach my blow tube. And this blow tube I already have prepped up to match the hole size on my blue tubing. So just going in, making those two ends nice and hot, touch together in the flame, rotate, 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 let the glass flow, give a puff of air, and then I'll just go and straighten that handle, letting gravity pull the tubing down into and on center. Alright, it's looking pretty good. Next, I am going to heat up the section where I'm going to flame cut, because I need to put 2 blow tubes on this blank. So, excuse me. So what I'm doing here is I'm just gently heating up that tubing. This way I don't shock it. This is heavy wall tubing, so you have to gradually heat it up, or else it will crack and shatter, and we'll go over how to repair that in another video. So yeah, just go ahead and rotate that, gently warm it up, get that heat in there. It's going to take a while to get it nice and warm, but when it does, it'll start to move. And just keep that heat in one area, because we're just going to pull this out, flame cut it, and then we're going to attach a blow tube on the other side. So here we go, glass just flame cut. And you always want to flame cut in the fire to prevent yourself from making thin stringers. Give it a puff of air to even out the wall thickness on the end. And I like to clean up my glass too, so that's why I'm just rotating that blue rod on the roller there. Just getting that end nice and round. Wasn't hot enough to pick that off. Okay, jumped ahead here. Attaching my blow tube. Just a heads up, I did have a problem with this blow tube, my blow hose I mean. In this video, it wasn't getting any air pressure, and I couldn't figure out why. So you'll see I have the tube attached. I tried a different one. I went back to this tube, and eventually I figured it out. I had to put the whole project on hold somewhere near the end and figure out why I wasn't getting any air pressure. Because when you make a Sherlock, you really want to make sure you have a good blow hose, or your life is going to be so much harder. Okay, so here I just popped open the end. I'm flaring it out to get ready to attach my other blow tube. Paddling the end so it's nice and even. You want to keep all your glass nice and even. It makes the connection smoother and less likely to break. I went and put the glass in the kiln because I only prepped one blow tube. And I'm just going to quickly, I'm checking the ends for sharpness. You want to make sure that your ends are smooth before you you attach anything to them, because when you go to blow in them, it could cut your lip. So you have to be careful, make sure that your ends are smoothed out. This way you don't damage yourself in the process. All you have to do is just quickly roll one end in the flame, and it'll make a fire polish, and the tube will be very smooth on the end. You just have to make sure it's cooled down properly before you go ahead and touch it or put your lips to it. You do not want to get those hot lips going. So yeah, I just made the attachment here, just centering everything up, and we are looking pretty good. Okay, the next step you're going to want to do here is flame cut. I'm going to use about 3/4 of this tube for the handle, I guess you'd call it, or like the top of the Sherlock, and the bottom is going to be, and the smaller half is going to be where the bowl is going to be. So again, this is your preference, whatever makes you happy. Make this the way that you think looks good. That's what's beautiful about art, is you can make anything you want that your heart desires, and yeah, you just go with it. Just go with whatever comes out of your old brain. All right, so here I'm just smoothing out the ends of the blanks. It's just going to make our life that much easier when we go to work with them later on. All right, the bowl portion went into the kiln to stay hot while I work on the first half of the Sherlock. Here I'm just heating up the end and rounding it out, making sure it's nice and smooth. Got the blow tube attached. Blow hose, I mean. The rubber thing there. Blow hose and blow tube. And one day I will get them straightened out. Okay. So, gonna go ahead and attach a punty on the end of this. First thing I'm gonna do is shape up the mouthpiece, where you're gonna put your luscious lips on. So you want to make sure you have a beautiful mouthpiece. So just go in with that precise flame and heat up where you want it to be. I like to give a puff of air to help flare the glass out. And just be patient. See, I made a dot where helps me keep like a target zone. So you heat up one spot and then rotate, and you'll see it makes like that band of heat, which makes it easy to see and heat the same spot. This way you're not all over making a ton of glass hot when you just want to make a little strip hot. So I'll just go ahead and get a nice even heat in there, giving it a little bit of air to puff it out. This is heavy wall tubing, so this might take a little bit of time, but be patient and puff it out. Puff, 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 puff. And I am pressing my hands ever so slightly together as I do this. And as you heat and puff and push, it'll make a really nice even Maria there for your mouthpiece. Just adjusting the flame a little bit. Got to be careful when you put your hot glass down, because it will bend and move off center, so just be careful when you do that. Getting nice and hot. Look at that beautiful red hot glass in the fire. It's so cool looking. Okay, you can see it's starting to get thicker. It's starting to get a little, not thicker, it's starting to get a little bit fatter as I puff it out. Puff, 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 puff. Keep it nice and hot and press in a little bit. And you get that nice even Maria. Now I'm going to go ahead and heat up on the side where my blow tube is. And I'm just going to pull out a little bit of glass. Getting the V blade ready, because I'm going to put that on the V blade to condense that glass. Once I get it hot enough, just pull a little bit out and rotate nice and even. Don't force the glass onto your V blade because you will get it all misshapen and all funky. So just be patient, be gentle with the glass. There's no reason to force it and try to muscle it on here. Just be patient. Patience, 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 people. Now after you go ahead and make that condension, I'm going to go ahead and heat up the portion to pull out. And this is just like making a spoon at this point. You're just going to go ahead, get your heat in there, and get ready to pull it out. And with the Sherlock, when you pull, you also want to bend it. This way it gets that cool little bend in the neck. There you go. Pull out. Make sure it is on center. Look at it from multiple angles. Make sure it's straight. I've had made, when I first started making these, they were crooked as can be, and I really thought I nailed it because I was looking at it in one dimension, but you really have to look at it from every angle possible, or else you're going to wind up with a really funky looking Sherlock. So be patient, take your time with this. You want it to come out good, don't be in a rush. Just take your time. And here I'm going to go ahead and pop the hole where we're going to be attaching the bowl piece, since again we are making a two-piece pipe. And I'm going to use the micro torch because this makes it way easier to pop a precise hole as opposed to using the other torch, because you can really just get it, that pinpoint flame exactly where you want to open up your hole and exactly where you want it to be. This again goes with what I was saying before. You want to look at this in every angle possible to make sure that your bowl is going to be in front of your pipe, as opposed to like off to the side or somewhere where you don't want it to be. So at this point I gave up on the blow hose, and I'm just going to use my my mouth instead, which works just as well. But again, it's way easier when you use a blow hose to make a two-piece pipe like this. Alright, so I popped that hole, and now I'm just going to go ahead and ream it out with the reamer to make it a good size. And I like to leave a little bit of extra glass on the bottom, so I don't pop this hole too close to the bottom. Oh, there we go, close up of what it looks like. Nice, okay. Moving on, we're going to make the bowl portion now. And you see I changed blow, well, I don't know if you can see, but you just trust me that I changed blow tubes at this point, hoping that this one was going to give me some good results. Unfortunately, it did not, and that's why this video took longer than expected, because in life, things just don't always go your way, and you got to roll with the punches. Roll with the punches and work with what you have. And that's all you can do. Just do the best with the tools that you have. You can see I'm struggling with this blow tube. And you can see that gray piece is torn where it connects to the glass. I guess over time it just ripped. So that was not working for me. Alright, say bye to the blow hose and going for it without it, which is fine. This is just going and popping a hole in the end, because as I showed in the intro, there is an encalmo that we're going to attach to this bowl. And after I made this piece, I realized I should have used that wigwag for lower on the bowl than as far as the bowl itself, because I wasted a whole bunch of glass, cool looking glass, that will just be, covered up with soot and whatnot. So live and learn, people. You make enough of these things and you find your own groove and what works for you and what looks good, So yeah, life is an experience, and I never claim to be a master glass blower. I just do, again, what makes me happy and what I think is useful as I go through my glass journey through life. Okay, so I went and popped and evened out that hole. Now I took out my wigwag ball from the previous video, and I just will not give up on these blow tubes. I just really wanted to work out. But I was getting zero air pressure when I was doing these detachments and attachments and whatnot. And here I'm gonna detach the ball from, you always want to be careful when you're working with hot glass that it hardens enough so it doesn't start bending on you and becoming all off center when you need to do something. So just keep that in mind as you watch me make all these mistakes. You know, keep it in mind for your projects. Just giving a puff of air in the flame here to detach that blow tube. And pop that hole, then just let the fire cut that glass away. I had a bunch of clear left on, so I'm just removing it before I go to make the attachment. If you like clear in your design, then by all means leave it there and rock with that. If not, go ahead and peel it off. It's up to you. I'm sorry you get so many shots of me tweezing this glass off, but hopefully you're learning something from it. Okay, tweezing away here. Tweezing away. Pulling off all that clear. You really want to make sure I wanted to make sure, I should say, that I didn't have any clear when I made the attachment to the cobalt blue tubing. Okay, so I finally got it all off. I did make the glass a little bit misshapen in the process, so I'm going to go ahead in with my reamer and round it off. Just take your time. There we go, just opened up. Beautiful. And now we are ready to attach the tube. See, I pushed that glass back in because it was sticking out a little bit. That is a fireproof glove that I am rubbing that glass on right now. So make sure if you have any kiln dust that you want to wipe off, that you do use something that is fireproof and not something that is going to easily catch fire. The last thing you want to do is have a fire in your shop. So make sure you have the right equipment. You want to work safely and wisely when you do this. You know, working with hot glass is extremely dangerous. So I have fireproof tables that I use, and the whole shop is cinder block and concrete. So anywhere that glass lands, there's nothing flammable around. Again, because glass does snap and break, and you have to just make sure that you are working in a safe way. I cannot stress that enough. It's so important. And of course, have a fire extinguisher around. All right, so what was happening as I was talking is I attached that wigwag ball to the cobalt tubing on the end. Just hot seal the two of them together, get the two ends nice and juicy hot, and stick them together in the flame. And I detached my cold seal punty. And since this is a good hot seal, I'm just going to go heat up, blow out a little bit, get those walls nice and even. And I'm just going to go ahead and do that a couple times. Condense, warm up, blow out. You want this to make one nice solid piece of glass. That is your goal at this point. Making one nice solid piece. So again, take your time. There is no rush. If you rush, you're going to wind up with something that's garbage. There are reasons why glass pipes are so expensive, because they do take time to make. You know, even just making this one piece. This video is over a half an hour, and I was trying to keep it as short as possible, but to really understand the concepts, you just have to see how everything is done. I did bump up my flame to my outer fire, taking off my hat. It's getting really hot at this point. Excuse me. And this helps speed up the process of condensing that glass and blowing it out. Heat, 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 heat. Get a lot of heat in there. And rotate, rotate, rotate. It's a lot of rotating and a lot of heating in this field. And just keep it all on center. Let it harden up a little bit before you go in puff. And just puff that glass out. Nice. Looking good if I do say so myself. Alright, I'm gonna jump back to the mini torch and pop my hole for where I'm gonna attach to the mouthpiece. So using that precise flame to heat exactly where I want it to go, and then just blow and get that blister going. Heating up again. You might have to do it more than once. Listen, sometimes you have to do things a couple times to get it to work, and that's okay. Now I'm going to use that big flame to heat up that blister on both sides, heat evenly on both sides. And did it pop? Yeah, it pops because must obviously pop because I'm going for the reamer. So just ream out that hole, and your goal here at this point is to make this hole the same size as the hole on your mouthpiece. So I'm going to go grab it out of the kiln. Then we'll come back, making sure I'm price checking the two. Thumbs up, we're looking good. Meaning that these two are the same size. And we are ready to rock and roll. Okay. Going with the earplug in because you need to build up you need air pressure to make this seal. This is called a side seal, where you heat up two pieces of tubing and connect their sides together, as you see here. And again, it's so much easier with a blow hose, but it just wasn't working, and I gave up on it at this point in the video. And I went in for that connection, and again, check it from all angles. All angles when you make this attachment. Make sure it's straight and not off to the side and not crooked. And it actually was thank God a million times over, it was a good seal right out of the gate. So sometimes, you know, life is not perfect, and your glass will not fully seal when you go ahead to do these. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You just have to know how to fix your mistakes. It's one of the most important lessons in life, is knowing how to fix your mistakes. So here I have some extra clear from the blow tube that I'm just going to tweeze off real quick. And I like to use tweezers to peel the clear off. Some people will use a rod. Some people, you know, again, whatever tool is comfortable for you, use that. Again, there's no wrong way to do this as long as you're working in a safe manner and not doing anything dumb. Okay, still tweezing that glass. So while I'm tweezing away there, I'm going to share a dad joke here. Dad joke for this video. Why are Saturday and Sunday considered strong days? Because the rest are weekdays. Weekdays. Anyway, I thought it was funny. So now that I got the hot seal, and I finally finished with the tweezers, peeling off all that clear glass. I'm trying again. I really want to make that blow hose work out. And at this point, I'm going to use my micro torch. It's just much easier to work with. And you want to heat up right in the middle where those two pieces join. You want to make sure that is a smooth connection where they flow into one nice solid piece of glass. So you heat up, you puff out, you heat up again, you puff out again. And just gradually do this in sections. Do not do the whole joint at one time, or else the glass will start to move. And I did not bridge this bowl. Some people do. I usually don't when I make this piece. When I first started doing these, I would always bridge it, and the bridge is great because it will hold it in position, so you can heat up that whole connection and heat the whole thing at one time. The way I do it now is, again, I just do it section by section, as you see me doing here. I started on one side and I work my way around, just heating and puffing and condensing and letting that glass flow where it wants to flow. And this is why I like to have a little bit of extra glass on the bottom, is because that's the piece that you need to blow and round out, and you want that to have a nice density to it. You don't want it to be too thin, or else it'll break very easily. Okay, so just heating it up, getting a lot of heat in there, get those two sides hot, and they will start to join into one nice smooth joint. Work on one small section at a time. And I think at this point I finally got my blow hose working. And just heat and puff. And this just made it so much easier to do this project. Because the glass, you can just work on it while it's in front of you rather than having to bring it up to your mouth to blow it out. The blow hose makes it so much easier. Get that nice and juicy hot, flowing up, flowing down. You could see it's starting to join together, and that bottom is starting to round out from where we started. So I had a lot of extra glass on the mouthpiece half that I'm just letting flow down to the bowl half. Just let it flow, baby. Take your time. Let the glass move where it wants to move. Put the heat where you want it to move. And everything will be groovy, man. Still working on that seal. This is like the most complicated part of making this pipe, is that side seal and getting it to be a nice smooth connection. At this point I'm just trying to round out that bottom now. The sides are looking really good. Glass is looking nice and happy. No cracks, no shocks, which is awesome. Especially like if you're not heating one piece for a while, you can crack your glass, so just be careful. You do want to work a little bit quickly when you do this. Now putting on that nice reducing flame. Give it a little bit of that nice gentle heat, because I didn't work on the bowl section. I worked mostly on that joint. So before I do anything to that bowl, I just want to get some nice heat in there. Just be gentle with the glass, wiping it off on my fireproof glove. And I'm just going to go ahead and attach some lenses now. So I have a 10mm rod there, heating up that end, doing a little bit of a gather. If you want to make big dots, gather more glass. If you want to make small dots, then you could either use a smaller rod or just gently touch this to the pipe and just quickly pull away, and it'll make smaller dots. So I'd like to make like 3 or so to get a nice grip on there. It's your preference. I just like to, do whatever just pops into my mind. Whatever, 3 dots, 4 dots, 10 dots. And this actually wound up doing 4. Did 1 on the end and 3 on the side. And I just love the way those dots magnify the glass underneath. It's just so cool. Nice. Alright, just quickly hit those with the flame to round those out and melt them in a little bit more. Again, you want to make sure that those are hot sealed on. This way they won't pop off. Okay, going back to the micro torch. And this I'm just going to use to place my bowl hole. So I'll just use that pinpoint flame, get it nice and hot, and just puff it out. Puff, 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 puff. and kapow! You saw it pop in the flame there. Alright, so next step is going in and heating up around that hole. You don't want to close up this hole, so don't heat directly on it. Just heat up the area around it. And when it's nice and juicy hot, just go ahead and use that bowl push and push it on in. I did this one in 2 pushes. You could do them in 1, you could do them in 2, 3. Again, just be gentle with the glass. You don't want to deform it or make that hole too big, or else you're going to have a very hard time getting your product in there. Alright, I like to pop the carb on the left side. I just think it's very comfortable. Just go ahead, plug up that bowl hole and heat up an area and puff it out. Make sure you blow in the flame so you don't get any bubble trash. And now again, back in with that nice, gentle, reducing flame. Get some heat back in that glass, making sure we don't shock the mouthpiece. And now I'm going to go ahead and detach it with the diamond shears. Tap, 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 crunch. There we go, broke off nice and clean. And just fire polish where your lips are going to go. And get that nice and smooth. Paddle it flat. If you don't like the size of the hole, you could either ream it out or add more glass. My hole came out a good size. So I just paddled it flat and pop that in the kiln. And your Sherlock will be good to go once it's annealed. Thanks so much for checking out the video on how to make that 2-piece Sherlock. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. I'm going to be making a cute little teardrop pendant for my next video, so be sure to stay tuned for that. And I'll see you next time.